To the east, to the north, to the west, to the south, above, below, in the center. Well, this is Big Pontiac. No, I haven't done a show since last month, full moon. No, I did a show in the Super Bowl. My son, well, it was nasty. So my son made a family video from his mother for my mother on her 85th birthday, and looking at the kind of shit he left. This is a piece of chewed up plastic. He won't quit doing this. Um, yeah, it was good. This is Big Pontiac. If you don't know, I have a habit, a yearly habit, where I think back in 19 or 20, 1diviness came in, and she did a full moon meditation. And this is a hey, Mac V, thank you for joining. And this is a special one because this is 3-3. It's also portholes open. Um, so this, was 3-3. So it was a lot of portals. So it was a lot of moon energy. I think the moon peaked. Well, we know we had the eclipse, but it was on unless you got up super early. I think for me it was 5 to 6, and nah, I wasn't getting up at 5 to 6 just to see it. So, um, I was able to. I think it peaked in the afternoon, so I was able to get a good meditation. And what I've kind of done is I have my terrace set up, so I've been stepping on my crystals and been studying a little bit, and kind of picked up some of the other practices just how I did. So what I did is I took my skulls, and my skulls are all in the position and they're facing out. So when you want to search and you want some protection, you kind of face the skulls out. If you want to bring the energy in, you have the skulls facing to you, because what's different about all the skulls, what's different about all the skulls is that all the skulls are interconnected. Technically, in some ways, all the crystals are, but not the way the skulls are. Once the skull is shaped, it is pretty much, there's a consciousness of all the skulls. That the skulls are kind of interconnected, and it's like really the skulls are also a way to move through space time. As I've said before, putting like the way to get the skull consciousness is almost like putting on a hat, and then you're like looking through the skull's eyes. And so also the skulls also mean deep thought. And I have one skull that's, the top is still crystallized. So that's, it's a universal skull searching for, searching for above, that kind of thing. So, hey, Dr. Sinister, what's going on? Brother PJ Allen, what's happening? Oh, and before I get into it too much, let me just, I haven't played pickleball in 2 weeks now. Kind of letting my knee rest. My shoulder for sure, kind of letting those rest. And so switching clubs, but in about really 4 or 5 weeks, we're gonna be playing outdoors again. So that's the beautiful thing. But if I showed these before, I'm gonna show them again, and I'm gonna try to get some more of these. This is Ja 2s, and if I didn't mention this before, this is one of the best pickleball shoes that I've run into. Um, Now this is not suede. It's kind of sometimes synthetic material. But I'll tell. Let me explain that. Like with this setup, I wish I'd have brought. I wish I'd have brought my New Balance up here to kind of compare, because I wore the New Balance, and the New Balance I was really impressed with. Oh, thank you, PJ. But I see what the New Balance lacked when I wear these. And these are Ja 2s. And these are almost the perfect pickleball shoe. Really almost is. Where is that off? Okay. And so this is almost the perfect pickleball shoe, I must say. You just bought gosh, did you take it away? And so I wanted to show this. Now this year I've only bought 3 pair of shoes. I bought the Grey Wolf Jordan 40s because I got them for 130. So, and I bought these. And again, these is from the outlet. But I bought these, I think they're KD17s, KD18s. And now one thing I must say about these is if you like, it's definitely a wider foot. I mean, it has that silhouette, but it's a wider foot. The way they make these strings, it's really a wider foot. So, um, comfortable. Haven't played in them yet. Haven't even worn them. I'm gonna swap these yellow strings out for some blue strings for sure. But comfortable. Been walking around the house with them. Comfortable. Haven't played with them, but I'll be getting some playing in them. And so these are pretty comfortable too. I think I got these. Oh, okay. I think I got these for 50 maybe. I think it was $74 and 30% off. So roughly around 50. And again, this is with the box too, you know, so but I haven't wore these. Oh, the Motivite? Gosh, I got some big other chunks, but they in the other room. Um, yeah, Heaven and Earth. Heaven and Earth is the only place I can really tell you where you'll get real Motivite. I can't think of his name. What is the motor? I got his book behind me, but his shop is called Heaven and Earth. That's the only place I would really trust to get real Motivite. There's no blue Motivite. I saw some Chinese try to sell some blue Motivite. All of it is green like this. You put the light on it, you know, and then the light lights up behind it. So, but that's who I've never got any from him, but he's the father of Motivite, and that's online. That's the only person I would really trust is look up Heaven and Earth. That's the name of his shop, and I'm sure he has Motivite for sale. My local guy, and they you know it's less Motivite because they don't let them mine it anymore. So yeah. Oh, and a couple other things. I got this book, and Skinner really breaks down magic, and this is techniques of Greco-Egyptian magic by Stephen Skinner. And I should place a few of his videos because this cat is on point. This cat said because like he looks at magic as the way of really almost a shaman, because shamanism they want to mix shamanism in with well they want to mix in shamanism, and the way Skinner teaches magic is how to deal with demons, you know, and gods as well, and entity and different entities. And that's a lot of you know the Western shamanism tries to teach is that you know you build a circle, because that's why you know I kind of circled, like I have my balcony like up here, and I have it squared off because that's the way the Mayans teach it in America, and the Mayans don't teach any way that you call demons. They don't even have a word in the Mayan language, the Natal language, that would be a demon. Now there's different entities. Now you know where they got the Batman copy from. The Batman cowl is a copy from a Mexican or a South American bat god, a Mayan bat god, and that's pretty easy to look up, and you'll see where they copied the Batman costume. And there is one, a priest would take a king into a cave, and then the king would have to like kill all the entities that's fucking with him with the knife, you know, with his sword, with the obsidian sword. Terrace is the word I was looking for. So my terrace is still up just because I wanted to get all the strong energies. Um, and it's not really until I activate it all. And so that's once when it gets put together. But what I've understood, and magic can be used without calling demons. Um, as I explained many times before, uh, what John D and them, when they came here, what they had to do is when they started looking at working with crystal skulls and they started working with obsidian mirrors, these were our ancestors. These were spirits that were used to dealing with Americans. Really, you don't see crystal balls and you don't see mirrors and skulls until after they were taken out of the Americas. And then John D got his hand on it. And he was the first European to start scrying. And what the Europeans noticed is to get these American entities to work for them, they had to bind them because they weren't happy to see these Europeans. So they started binding them. Now, yes, there was a practice even before, they got some of these things. And so these practices, even like as this book is called Greco-Roman, even the people in Kemet, where actually, you can see several pictures where, they're using the circle and stuff. But I haven't found really where they needed to bind their entities that they brought in, that, they really needed to do that. Uh, so I don't like I think magic can be practiced without the need to bind. I don't, and again, like I don't really have any questions for a demon. I deal with the entities. I deal with Hathor, which is the solar deity, one of the first deities to come out. It's like he said her name comes from what did he say? Oh God, what did he say her name came from? Horus. He said Hathor comes from Horus. All wrong. Hathor is one of the original gods of Kemet. She's what's looked at as a solar, maybe even birthing Ptah himself. So she's one of the oldest Egyptian gods or Kemetan gods. And so when I've had to deal with her, it's no trying to bind her. When I'm trying to get questions or feelings or understanding, it's like, I was just call. Same when, this one here, the great Pakal, it's like he didn't even know what an oracle was, but yet he set himself up as an oracle. When you look at his tomb is set up as an oracle. That's how they found where he was buried, because he had a hole that the people could come and talk to and, uh, and try to get some answers, so magic doesn't have to be practiced the same way they practiced it here. I mean, you can take a little bit of everything. And magic is really just slightly being able to change your narrative or your present time or getting an advantage, getting an advantage for yourself. That's kind of what it is. It's a way of and it's like what I describe as pimping. Pimping is just getting people to do things for you. Do what you will. That's part of what it is getting people to do things for you, getting the people to do what they might not normally do. And it's a psychological thing too, where you get people to do your bidding, do for you. Ah, okay. Trying to find the sweet spot. And so there's some things, and it's discernment and with everything. And then another book, and I'm going to read some of this stuff tonight too, because it hit me to something, and I got to reorder the book. But I think this ain't going to be too hard. Let me see if I can bring it up. Because being a full moon, there's a part I want to add. I want to add to. Let's see. And my son was all over my computer, so forgive me. I haven't used this computer in about a month. So it's got to be here. Yeah. There it is. Try to give you a visual. It's going to be a little easier if I can. So why is it? understanding why I've got to re-download it again when I had it already. Okay. I don't remember my password or nothing, but I don't really need it. Oh, okay. It remembered me. Okay. Let me see if it's got my latest search. Ah, here we go. It does. Um, okay. Oh, here's a book right here too. Let me see, where's that chart I want to use? That ain't quite it. That ain't quite it. See if this gives me the one I want. Sort of, kind of. All right, this will do the best. Okay. It doesn't quite. The one chart I had up, now I'm not seeing it. All right, let's go back. Okay. Okay. I want to start right here. All right, y'all. So, one thing that you have to understand that as we go into waning and waxing, waning I believe is up, waxing is down. But you have to understand that the moon goes in the same places in space. All right. And so what the ancients has created, they have actually created houses in these spaces that the moon has went through since it's been here. However it got here, it still goes in the same spaces. And so what they've set up is different houses that hit, these certain angles here. These are the houses of the moon. Now I used to have the book, but I had it on I had a computer book. And so as the moon goes through its phases, it hits the same part of space. And so that's what the ancients have set up, is they have set up different houses in space. So it's called the houses of the moon. And so I bring that up because I went to a store we have called Magnus, like Simon Magnus. And in Simon Magnus, or not Simon Magnus, but in the bookstore, I end up buying this book. And let me see, I can't read the first phase, second, been related to, I can't read that. It's too far in. See if can I read this? And so one bonus that she had in this book is she talks about the houses in the moon. And it's astrological houses, of course. And trying to see how far back. Okay. And so I was but the name of the book is The Temple of High Magic. And what this really is how magic went, how the Westerners, use magic. Ah, okay. So this is a little easier to read. And so the 12 houses, the first house, identity, personality, ego, self-image, beginning, consciousness, appearance, temperament. The second house is value, material, possession, assets, physical body, finance, earnings, financial loans, lending. The third house, communication, perception, curiosity, language, early education, technology, transportation, siblings. Fourth house is roots, home, family, nurturing, ancestry, genetics, youth, and mother. Fifth house is self-expansion, passion, fun, creativity, pleasure, casual sex, inner child, children, health, wellness, work, service, duty, healing, pets, daily routines. The seventh house, partnership, relationships, marriage, life partner, business partner, relating, foreign affairs, contracts. Eighth house is sex, death, transformation, occult, magic, taboos, inheritance, other people's property. The ninth house is spirituality, philosophy, seeking, expansion, higher education, religion, travel, and legal. 10th house is career, ambition, social status, reputation, power, social causes, fame, uh, dominant parent. 11th house, community, collective, friendship, circle, social circle, wishes, earn wealth. 12th house is shadow self, unconsciousness, secrets, fears, dreams, hidden desires, fantasies, and addictions. Now, this is a pretty simplistic way to look at this. Pretty simplistic. And I thought this book, she hit on it a little more, because there's other names for it. And in the book, some of the names, if I can read it, is this in English? Yeah, it's so the names are mostly Arabic names. It's so it says Al Jabana, Id of Judah, Al Kabab. So it has more names that you can call these areas of the moon. And so I'm just read a few kind of things that when you deal with these houses, kind of what you would be calling upon or talk upon. And so it goes here. It calls it gestures of the opening of the veil. I call upon the moon god. I call upon Nana. I tell you, Nana, who aren't asleep now, I open the bolts of the doors of heaven. I ask you and I pray for you. Initiate me in the knowledge of Inanna, Anu, Anil, again, Anunnaki names. The gods steep in heaven, they do not judge, they do not decide. The night is veiled, the temple and most holy places are covered in silence and darkness, and I'm traveling on his quest, and I call upon the moon god Shaman, and withdrawn himself in his room, and I call upon the great ones, the gods of the night. So I've just ordered another book, that the book I had on the computer book, and it has some of the same things on how to use moon magic. That's about simple as I can make it. How to move magic. I got a lot going on. I got the candle. I got an incense burning because it's a lot of energy going around. So I wanted to bring it all in. And so I know that's a pretty simplistic way to put it, but that's pretty much the only way I can really explain it. Let me see. It's more on the houses. Let's see. The houses, house of self, yeah, house of money and value. That's in Aries, Taurus, house of communication, which is in Gemini. Ruling planet would be Mercury. Yeah, so it's more of they got a little more explanation of the 12 houses. So if that's something that you can get into it a little deeper, see the dark side of the 12 signs, but you can get into a little deeper of it if you really want to touch into a lot of the moon magic, because it's moon magic all the time. Right now I put majority of like I leave my windows open because I want this moon magic to come in here and kiss everything again. And I've went over many times about how everything in here I've touched one time and another. I may have not touched it in years, but still I brought it in here with intention. And it's just like when you break a crystal, I don't ever, mean to break crystals, but it's just they're fragile and, just moving them. It happens. And I feel bad about it, but it's nothing on purpose. And that's what, the crystals kind of understand that you didn't really mean to harm them, because it's just like your things. You don't mean to harm your things. So. And so I just thought I'll do a sound bath for sure. I'll let the divine one come in here. Oh, we made another trip in Michigan, and this bud right here ain't really that great. I'll say it's really not. It really was kind of Got all this weed coming in my hand. But it's these little buds. This was a whole thing of these little buds. So this wasn't that great. And this wasn't that expensive. I think shit. I only paid probably for an ounce. I think I only paid about 75 for this. So it wasn't very expensive. But so yeah, they took a trip up north to got me a couple ounces. And we had a blizzard. And let me tell you, gosh, um, I wish I'd have did a show on the blizzard because I blizzards like and one thing that like this book I've read too kind of touched on some things that if you don't practice, you really kind of lose it. If you don't practice magic, you got to really kind of think about it all the time. But one thing she reminded me of is the winds too. The winds have a type of entities with them as well. That's what people don't understand, especially during tornadoes and during snowstorms, rainstorms. There's a type of entity that's moving with this energy, and you can kind of tap into it. And so during the blizzard, I was meditating downstairs, and I had done it before and know that you can really tap in when blizzards hit. And so it was we had a blizzard about 2 weeks ago. My brother came in town, and I didn't do a show with him. I really should have, but we were kind of doing things. My niece had her birthday. We had a little party for her at the Rainforest Cafe. If you've never been there, to the Mall of America. And so I didn't get a chance to sit down because my brother, I mean, he's got books that like he paid a certain amount and they worth thousands now. I mean, he's really one of the best researchers that I know. I mean, he really puts the work in on researching. So, well, let me see. I don't want to blow myself up. Oh, here we go. Well, smoke them if you want them. If you got them. Smoke them if you got them. I'm not drinking tonight. That's burning pretty good. My wife's going to be smoking in the house. It'll go out in a second. And so let me get on with the sound bath. And again, I don't have any intentions. Oh, look at the weed smoke. I had to go out in a minute. But that's good, and you get to getting into the smoke and how the smoke reacts because again, the smoke is a consciousness. Like I was saying just about the wind is a consciousness too. The earth is not a dead thing. This is the thing that, it strikes back at them. It really has struck back at them. And it shows that anything they do, it'll survive it. They can't blow this thing up. Like, Planet of the Apes try to show you that they can blow the world up. They can't blow this world up. Hey, everything that they've done has come from this world. So do you think it would create something that would totally, now maybe it would get something that would totally annihilate people, but not everything. And we know things like roaches, the ants, all them things is gonna live no matter what. It's just like in Chernobyl, where all that radiation, they finding out the dogs and all the things that live around that area has adapted to the radiation. And they were just saying that the dogs have almost developed into a different kind of gene, a different kind of being. There it goes, finally going out. Okay, but here we go. This will not go out. Go out. Go out. And this is my big bowl I bring out every now and then. It has the Verja in it, the open Verja. And this is, like energy source within itself and definitely a weapon. I have a pendant. I have a couple different crystals. So this was really my first, like when I bought this bowl, like I bought a Verja, a brass Verja. And it might be behind me unless I put it back up. Nope, I put it back up. And the crystal one is here. And this is the crystal. And this is like I told the story before, for some reason I had to live an experience being the Monkey King twice. I did the same experience twice. And as I was saying, I was living in the tears of Brahma. I was living in the tears of Brahma. And just a little small room, but the room, the technology was there, but just a little small room living in eternity. And one of my creations was attacked. And so I was called and kind of Star Trekked in, sitting on my elephant, but I had the Verja, but I had it like this. I had the open Verja. And then there was my negative self. I was being attacked by one of the negative sides of my creation, which was a negative side of me. And so I'm being attacked. My people are being attacked, and I had them protected. They really couldn't do any harm. The negative side of me had brought like 1 million and some people with him, soldiers to fight, and they're bombing my other people, my other creation. And it's like I'm talking to them, I'm like, you can't harm them. They're protected. But of course, my negative self Still's like, if I keep doing this all day, I'm eventually get through. I'm like, no, you won't. And so I immediately just wiped out all his million-man army. And then I put him in the Phantom Zone. And then I rose his people back up, told him to go home. And so I bring that up only because, this has been, this was my magical tool. It's just like I've trained this wand. This wand is like a real magical tool. And it takes, when you create magical tools or you acquire them, it's not automatic. They're not going to work the first time. I mean, I went from this is like where I lived before in my apartment. I lived there for 5 years. So I adopted a tree and I called her the mother tree. Well, during the storm, she gave me this gift. And this is from a much bigger piece that I have downstairs. And over the years, I've just done more and more things with it until now, I wrap the copper with it. There's a diamond in it. I have silver embedded in it. And then I have this arrowhead that represents the Americans, the American style, alabaster arrowhead. And it's not an old arrowhead. It probably new as one of my grandmother's too. And so these tools, these tools take time to work for you. It's just like a lot of times, even crystals, it's going to take a while. Let me tell you even this, like today, when I was meditating, was the first time I've ever felt this piece of motivite vibrating on my chest. As I was meditating, I was feeling something tingling on my chest. And I realized the tingling was coming from the motivite. And it had never done that. And I've had this piece for damn near 10 years. I've had this chain and this motivite for 10 years. I've been wearing it pretty consistently for 10 years. But that was the first time I ever felt it vibrate on my chest. Now, the guy who wrote the book Heaven and Earth, I mean, he talks about experiences he had with motivite, but that was the first time the motivite ever reacted with me. And the motivite is supposed to react with the gold. And the reason why you really want gold around your neck, like you want to wear copper too, and then silver. Now, you want to wear silver because silver is going to make everything else you wear do what it's supposed to do, even your clothes. I mean, silver goes to everything and goes quantum with everything and says, this is what you're supposed to do. But that's kind of all body work. The same with the copper, it's body work. But when you talk about gold and why you especially want gold around your neck or in your ears, even on your face is okay, is because it's for the mind. Gold is the metal of the mind. It is the one metal that actually will help your mind. And that's one of the reasons why. And it's interesting that sports athletes have switched now to wearing the diamonds around their neck instead of the gold. Now they can be encased in gold, but really the more natural amplifier would be the gold itself. And not really the diamond. The gold is going to work with you more than the diamonds, because the diamonds are just going to amplify. The gold is really going to go inside of your mind and work with your mind. That's why no matter what little piece, you should just get some real gold and wear a little piece around your neck. And the price of gold now is, it's $5,000 for an ounce. So if you weigh up your stuff, and you basically got $5,000. Which is a hedge, if you understand. But I kind of got off point of my sound bath. Sorry about that. Just wanted to get all that in this blue argonite, which some of it is flaked off in this bowl, so they're kind of a pair. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can get this going like this. It's like it's still going, even though it gets fainter and fainter. Thank you. It's heavy. It's heavy too. So it's heavy too. So I hope you enjoy that. Uh, I've been doing that, and if you guys want to hang around, I'll show the 1diviness too, and I'll let her do her thing because I really think that what she does is really beneficial for a night like tonight, instead of just hearing me philosophize and stuff. And I guess it's gonna come a point where maybe I'll start another channel, and that'll just be spiritual stuff, and I'll have a channel where I'll talk about sports and stuff too. Um, but it's just I know it's a lot going on in the world, and a lot of people like uh, may think that spiritualness shouldn't be thought about in the times we're facing, but I say the opposite, because really, like, as the Gnostics talk about, this illusionary world, and that doesn't mean just one thing. This is the reactionary illusionary world. This thing reacts. Oh, there it is. This thing reacts as we're into the illusion, and so it's like I was saying, it's lifting back the veil. It's a veil in front of a real reality, and the key is surviving enough and breaking through of this fake reality, going to the real reality. And I've had glimpses of it. When I saw the snowstorm, I've been to the reality, and it's again, when you're alive, it takes a lot of energy to break through. And again, it's the peak you get only seems like seconds, but in reality, it's much longer. Because once they bring it into you, you get to experience it. And to you, it only feels like a glimpse. It was like I was earlier meditating and really concentrating on Hathor, and boom, she threw me up some hieroglyphics, and in the colors and the place where I call home, where I'm going when I do pass the place where I'm going, and she threw hieroglyphics up in it, and it's like, okay. And that's magic. I didn't have to kill any animal. I didn't have to do anything to get a response. And just like I was showing you the thing of the moons, it's like correspondence. It's like the God's name, and then you can work with the God, or work with the entity because you know its name. See, and to me, that's simple magic that doesn't require any binding. Or whatever entity. I don't think those kind of things require binding. Because as I was saying, the Kanich Janib right here, he's, it's like, again, a lot of people don't study him and don't study his magic and his spiritual journey and on that he put on top of his sarcophagus, on top of his coffin. And it's a message in it, and it has nothing to do with binding. It's what his message is saying is, you come from the panther's jaws, which is what the omen or omic taught, and you go up to the quasi-quotal. So you learn both types of magic. You learn the magic of being a Yanu Yani, which was looked at as the quasi-quotal or the dragon. Or you can be the jaguar, which is a much older spirit. And so he was the connection between the two. So he gives you that. And that's and we look at real spiritual things that's found in the Americas. This is one of the few things that they've let us have. Because they don't want to tell you the true spiritual sides of these things. And it's like, if you really, really look at a lot of what was done to the melanated folks in America, and who teaches us history and who teaches us religion. Like, we've been lied to and held back so often by these systems. I mean, when you really get into the Bible is, again, the slave Bible never went away. And that's what they taught you from. And that Will Smith movie, Emancipation, remember, while they're all working and stuff, they had the Nat Turner-like figure, reading the Bible. I mean, that was a brilliant part that Will put in that movie. It was the same in the Nat Turner movie where he went from plantation to plantation and telling them, the Bible say, obey your master, that if you have a hard life here, you'll be okay when you die. So don't worry about your conditions here. And now, if you look at the melanated people really all over the world, a lot of melanated people, and I mean especially Africa, the Africans have really, the Africans that didn't fall under Islam have really taken Christianity to a whole new heights. And I believe that most Christians live in Africa. But melanated people, and then melanated people saw as a hustle and money into it too. I mean, really, the one dude that broke it down and broke really the curse of the Bible was Reverend Ike. Because Reverend Ike told, he came from a Gnostic point of view. He said it's in you. He said he teaches about the God in you, that you got to find the God in you, not something outside of you. You need to find it in you. And Reverend Ike's one of the very few that taught that. And then he taught, the correct correspondence of tapping into the God in you, the God in you that can get things done and move things. And he showed his people how to do it. They didn't want that. They didn't want that. I mean, like Bobby Hemmett there's a little short going around where he says the biggest agent ever for a brother was, well, really J. Edgar Hoover. He was the first, melanated person that tried to take down melanated people was J. Edgar Hoover, a person that passed, but was obviously, a brother from Mississippi. And then we got to look at, Michael King, M.L. King. When his daddy comes back from Germany, all of a sudden Michael King becomes Martin Luther King. And then his son's FBI file opens up when he's 5 years old, and his name changes. And then we got to look at, they called him Jesse Jackson, but that wasn't even his real name. And, I broke down, Jesse, and I haven't broke down since he died, but maybe I have. I mean, I've broken him down several times. And, he was one of the biggest agents, too. But in the Malcolm X movie, they tell you the dude, Leon's character is Farrakhan. I mean, if you didn't know. And you still see, Farrakhan used Malcolm's expressions and stuff. It was this little light-skinned, shorter brother he's the same way, They had a blueprint. Malcolm gave them both a blueprint. Follow this blueprint, these speaking patterns. Because Malcolm wasn't, King was that all, the Baptist minister style. And I got a friend that ministers today, and he still talks like that when he ministers. That King style. And even what's his name, RZA really copies some of Malcolm's mannerisms as well. Because, logically, he hits you the same way Malcolm hits you logically. He's taking on, he's trying to get to that younger audience. And, he's getting up in age himself. But Bobby Hemmett was talked about, the biggest agent was Farrakhan. Because Farrakhan, again, I studied Islam. I saw Elijah Muhammad in the late 70s. Went to Chicago. Again, I'm from Kalamazoo. Chicago's an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. And how fast you drive, so it was nothing to go up there and be invited and go into the campus. Actually, it's a whole campus where you could go into, and heard him speak and studied it for a while. But then when I went to A&T, Wallace D. Muhammad, Elijah's son, was given everything, and he broke away and said, "We no more black Muslims. We're gonna be Sunni Muslims." And, it was really the end. When I was going to the mosque in Greensboro, actually Winston-Salem was the first mosque I started going to, was in Winston-Salem. I saw a brother, it's funny, I met him at a convenience store, and we had a little conversation, and then later I see him in the mosque, so it was kind of funny, and I was like, "Brother, can I get a couple Qurans?" He said, just wait till we get done, I'll give them to you. And he gave me, it was a double edition. Later I ended up getting a single edition, so my point is it wasn't no Black Panthers, and all of a sudden, Farrakhan ends up with all the properties in Chicago. And so it was almost like the government still wanted that black Islam, So, again, a government creation. Because they're afraid of a true person getting that real power. And again, we can get into the Panthers and it's like, it's a video short, and gosh, I got to click into my thing. But it's a short that a brother does.
Maybe I can get the volume in here. Let's see. See if I can find it. And it's like a brother that's 19 or 20 in Vietnam. And I probably mentioned this before, but it's like what the civil rights did is it really made us all, especially melanated people, look at how we were being treated in this country. How we were under really a light kind of apartheid. Like the brother says, you know, we over here fighting, but when we go home, we still getting hassled. You know, and a lot of them not getting the benefits, not getting to be at about houses and stuff, and then redlining, not being at about a house where you want to buy it, even though the government's paying for the house, you know, GI Bill. I don't know if this thing is connected to my board either. But if I can get it to play, I can just play it. Hit it play over the mic. See if I can see how long ago I watched it. But it just shows, it really shows the intellect of young people, you know? And this is like before rap. And if you hear him, like if you hear him talking, like his rhythm of the way he's talking is almost like a rap in itself. Now, I don't know how long ago I watched it, if I can be able to find it. But my point is like, you know, we don't hear this intellectual talking a lot by young brothers anymore. Like I looked at, like recently, my daughter I didn't raise and her man, the dude pushed my daughter and her man like fought 5 or 6 people after that was done to her. And he was like, hey, I'm like, hell yeah. Whoops. Maybe I can get this to play. If I can find it. It's not taking me back that far. I watched this today, this morning. Watched so many things, I guess it's too far, but there's so many things outside of us. And that's, you know, a lot of this division over politics too. It's nothing but division. That's all it is. It's a different type of division for all of us. To again think outside of ourselves and not worry about our own what we're going to do. Like we know what the things that we're facing and the moves that have been made. I mean, what are these people? These people have always been what they are. I mean, right now they're trying to play out end times. They're trying to force these end time narratives. And this is all done absolutely for Israel. This is all done for them. They want everybody to hate them. I mean, I think Seven Bomber was saying that about 6-7 months ago, that they want everybody in the world to hate them because that's how the end of times that they think that you know, they've taken over that religion, you know. These people have no connection to those lands. The same way, you know, these goofy brothers around here ain't got no connection to those lands either. It's good to know the passages and stuff, but, you know, there's something older than that. That's what people got to understand. There's something much older. Excuse me for a second. I'm looking through something here. And so when you look at it from a spiritual standpoint, I mean, we know that spiritually we're safe, no matter what, you know, no matter what hardships they try to put upon us. And that's the biggest thing, is to shock us all, to shock the nation, put you in fear, put you in doubt. But no matter what, I mean, this is not the end. That's the biggest thing, is these bodies are temporary, but the consciousness goes on forever. And again, you wouldn't be able to astral travel and open your third eye up if this was all that there was. I mean, if you do any kind of meditative practices and any kind of light magic, you see that there's more than what goes on. Again, when I'm witnessing these air storm entities, again, I ain't had no questions for them, but I'm seeing them moving through. I understand what I'm seeing. You know, I know how this kind of thing works, and they move through that stuff. Same way with fire, forest fire, you know. Just like war, you know, the first thing that pops out off there, a bunch of motherfuckers get killed is phantoms. I mean, they've been talking about phantoms for, you know, hundreds of years. And really, you can get into studying about the Civil War at Gettysburg and the Bull Run, and how the man was seeing, you know, when they was trying to find the bodies and dig the bodies up, you know, or bury the bodies, you know, they've seen them phantoms out there. Phantom likes that kind of death. It sucks that energy from those individuals that was putting energy into all that killing. Because at some point, you know, you agree to kill. You know, I was talking about before about with Vietnam. I mean, at some point, you know, the people, like when they first went to Vietnam, them mugs was happy to kill. Then later in the war, they like, well, why are we playing, you know, cowboys and Indians in the jungle? This makes no sense. Hamburger Hill. Why do we keep Shaw Valley? You know, why do we keep going up this? We done took this hill before. Why are we back here? There's no objective to it. You're just killing people. And so we see the same thing playing over and over again. War, I mean, I'm gonna be 65 in June. I was born during Vietnam. And I had a friend that joined Vietnam in 60, the year before I was born. No, man, he graduated from college in 59. He joined Vietnam right after college. So he went in Vietnam, 59, 60. He was in Vietnam early years. And Vietnam didn't end technically until 72, 74. In the Jimmy Carter years, we had the Iran thing. Every day it's on TV. Hostages been over there for 2 weeks. Hostages day 44, day 45. Then they went and got to Panama, fought down there. Then we had, I thought one of my friends got killed in Lebanon when Reagan sent them troops in and they blew up. And we know Mossad had something to do with it too. Trying to draw American, you know, greater in. Shit, the first Gulf War, me and my second wife was just laying in bed, you know, fucking and watching the motherfucking war. Because remember how that first Gulf War, they were showing that shit, showing them shooting into, where Jeannie was from. Where was IDUG? Baghdad. You know, shooting up Baghdad and shit. We laying in bed naked watching them shoot up Baghdad. Remember that? That was in 90, and that shit just ended a few years ago. Afghanistan was 20 years. And if any of y'all, you know, 20 years, look how, 20 years ago, how old were you? I mean, again, I was a grown motherfucker, but you know, it's still, you see what I'm saying? It's like been war almost my whole life. So that's the way these people are. I mean, again, I had ancestors that fought in the American Revolution. I've had ancestors that fought in the Civil War. I've had ancestors that fought in World War II. I've had ancestors, well, matter of fact, we do have a couple ancestors. I do have a couple ancestors that did fight in World War I as well. Some distant cousins fought in World War I. But both of my grandfathers fought in World War II, and my great uncle. My grandfather's brother fought with Patton. And my grandfather was in the Navy. And then my mother's stepfather, he was also in the Navy. And my other great uncle was in the Army. Fought World War II. Then my uncle got drafted to Vietnam. And my cousin. My cousin passed. Eddie Peanut, rest well, family. But he fought in Vietnam as well. Then you got these families coming from Germany. None of their families fought any wars. And so this is the American way. This is the European way. And you know, they're trying to bring back something that's dying. You know, that thing, that old thing of white supremacy, as they want to call it. They want it called that. That's why I laugh at Nellie Fuller and even Dr. Welsing, because again, you're giving that power. Yeah, cool to point it out, but then you change the rhetoric about it, because you don't use their spell. You counter their spell and call it something else. European dominance. That's what they want, and that's dying. It's dying around the world, but especially dying here in America. That's why we see the terror, because that's all they know. It was just a replay of trying to scare people. Scare people and make a person, you know, president for life. So but these are new moves. And if the mug, you know, does get elected again, Roosevelt was elected for 12 years. And so these people that act like they don't like each other, don't get along, really it's the same old thing. They're all one. And so, yes, now we are doing bidding of a country that wants to live out the prophecy and say, look, all along we were. When they win greater Israel, they can turn around and say, look, yes, you know, we were these people. You see, that's what they want. They want everything turned into that. They wear a patch on their arm that shows greater Israel. They want more land with all the Palestinians out, just their people. Incense went out. I had too much burning, but I got my candles going too. So we see a lot of things just to divide us. You take this side, we take that side, but they're all the same. And don't forget, Obama created ICE. So, and Obama should be like, not only did he put away the most illegal people here, he snatched people around the world. Let's not forget about that about Obama. Bush 1 and Bush 2 started, but Obama, he was a master at it. He was snatched. He had the world scared. These mugs were scared, and let's look at mostly Arab people. Let's look at what it was. He was snatching mostly Arabs around the world in a secret war, in a very not so secret. And you see how they treated those people. They finally had to say, "Hey, we ain't treating these people so good." So the world found out how bad they was treating those people. So we see they build on a build on a build, and then the current person, you know, is like, well, look what he did. Well, look what all these other people did to set these circumstances up. Look at the system in a whole. Now, I'll say, I hated Kamala. I hated her phoniness. I mean, at least, like I said about Trump, at least he showed you his hand. Yeah, Obama was a killer. I'm telling you. Look, General Clark's book. I think that's his name, General Clark. Read his book, and he tell you how Bush 1 and Bush 2 started the program, and then Obama was a motherfucker in the program. He had these motherfuckers all around the world nervous about getting snatched up, because they was just disappearing motherfuckers. They was going to get these Arabs no matter where they was at, and they did mostly go after Arabs. Let's tell it what it is. But he had them motherfuckers running everywhere. So. And all this other stuff is, you know, what you have to understand what they've done in this country from the very beginning. Like the first people they really started taking out America was women and children. That's who the Spanish were taking out. I mean, Columbus I think he took 20 people the first time back, and 4 or 5 lived. And then every time they would bring, 10, 15 back. Then as the other people started coming, they were taking more people out of the Americas and taking them to Europe. That's how it started, is taking people out. And then as they killed so many people in the islands, they started snatching mainland people and taking them to the islands. That's why Jamaica and North Carolina have such a strong connection, because a lot of people were snatched out of North Carolina and taken to Jamaica. Like even my own ancestor, I think well, I'm 5 times from him, so my 5th great grandfather was a free person, and was a free person was snatched and taken to Tobago for I think 6, 7, 8 years until he was able to escape. I mean, just like 12 years a slave tries to tell you, they were snatching free people too and making them slaves. Because once you got a certain point down south, everything changed for you. And it's like, I get into my wife, like 12 years a slave. If you read the book, he tells how he was making money. He would go do side jobs, and his master would let him keep some of the money. See, they don't like telling that part, that you could make money too. A lot of times, if you got rented out, because a lot of, as I talk about, going with the wind, don't talk to that poor white trash. So there was a lot of poor white trash, and there's still a lot of white slaves too. Let's not forget that. They skim over that indentured servitude. There was just as many white slaves as it was melanated slaves, and they know it. Poor white trash, they were slaves. There wasn't any better. But through Bacon's Rebellion, if what they say, Mississippi Burning, the story where two farmers working together, share their horses, share their work, and doing well. The melanated farmer did a little better and was able to get a loan and get him a tractor. And he was so happy when he got the tractor, and he's like, now you and I can triple what we're putting out. I'll plow my field, then we'll work together, and I'll let you use my tractor, you plow your field, and we're really going to benefit. Pay off a lot of this stuff. And what did the European dude do in Mississippi Burning? He went that night and got the Klan, and they burned the tractor. And his son is asking the logical questions like, why would you do this? This was going to make us so much more money for their family and our family. Why would you do this? This hurts us. And all the dad could say is, if you aren't higher than a nigger, you aren't higher than anything. And that goes into the mediocre. Sorry. Mediocre. You know what I mean. Mediocre. But that goes into that is, again, you hire an incompetent European before you hire a competent melanated person. And that's what we're living under with this administration. And that's what they're pushing again. And that was a big part of Jim Crow. Long as he's European, you hire him. It doesn't matter his skill set. Doesn't matter if it hurts your company or not. You're hiring, you're accepting mediocre results. You might have to work harder, do a couple jobs because he can't really do the job, but he's European. And we have to keep these European lines tight. And just like we saw, some of you, maybe even under, is those student loans, when they took all the skills out of the schools. I've talked many times about my school. When you were a sophomore, because when I was in high school, sophomore, junior, senior, freshman was still in junior high. Your sophomore year, you worked on one part of a house. They taught you. By your senior year, you was learning how to wire some of the house. You was learning how to frame windows. You was learning how to build the whole house by your senior year. Same thing with working on cars. Same thing with carpentry. They were giving you these skills. And then what did the businesses and the government collude on? You got to start having college education. But if you can't afford it, we'll gladly give you these loans. Loans that you possibly are never going to pay off. Never going to pay off. So it was all a scam. It was all a money grab. Money grab, they still try to, that people are still under. I was lucky, I never had to get any loans. I got scholarships. I think my first year scholarship was $1,100 for the year. $1,100. My very first year, I think it was $1,100. And I think by the time I only played the 3 years, I think by the end of my junior year when I registered, maybe it was up to $1,250, something like that. something like 600-700 a semester. Now, maybe my last semester I went was $800, maybe. So, and that was a big, I have very few regrets, but I do wish that I could have finished at A&T. Wouldn't have been that very, very expensive. And I'd kind of, okay. I kind of, just lazy working, but, and while my first wife did graduate, and I could have, I was on campus every day. Not giving it to me. Where to take it? This is it? Us to buy some shit. Okay, yeah, I read this. And so, as you know, I don't really get into a lot of this black gossip. Seems like a lot of people care. Oops. Ooh. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Or who said what on this show? I mean, it's just, again, it's a lot of this is like, it lowers your thinking, lowers your energy. I mean, if you're talking about doing your thing, it's like, why do we care so much? That these black people are against these melanated people, and these melanated people said this, and these melanated people said that. Why is that so interesting to us? Just to get back to what I was saying about the young brother in Vietnam saying the speech, I mean, the consciousness of everybody it appears to be just a lot lower. The consciousness just doesn't appear to be there, other than self-hatred of melanated folks, which again, we're brainwashed. What do people say? I wish a nigga will. I'm like, before my daughter and my son-in-law got in a fight that night, they talking about, hurting another melanated person. I wish a melanated person. I mean, it's like in the music. And they're singing this out loud with the music on, what they would do to another melanated person. When the enemy has never been other melanated people. Now, it's melanated people that work for the enemy, but the enemy has never been, it's never went away. It's only been one enemy to melanated people in America. And it ain't all, like they say, all the Europeans are devils. If you listen to Malcolm, Elijah Muhammad, they said not some, but all. And again, we know that's not true. But there's an evilness that collectively, that they practice. They practice an evilness, a way of suppression that it appears to be, inbred in them at this point. And we have a lot of these people, that ain't European, acting European. We got a Cuban in there thinking, because he's a light Cuban, in the government thinking that he's a European. Again, not a European. They're just using you. Matter of fact, we got a Cuban in the government that did not leave under Rubio, did not leave under Castro. He left under Batista, who the Americans backed. The Americans backed Batista when Rubio's family left. He ran away from Batista because his dad did something to Batista that Americans backed. And we know the CIA backed Castro, and if you get into his family lines and stuff too. CIA was backing them both because the CIA did not want the mafia to have their own country. That's what it boiled down to. That's why Castro was put in there. They did not want the mob to have their own country because that's what the mob pivoted. That's how they pivoted. It's like, okay, they looked at prohibition was leaving, so they found a country where it's a paradise. But they suppressed the hell out of the people. Batista and everybody suppressed the hell out of the people. They wasn't going to school, wasn't teaching them. But life was good. You could go there, and it was a country for gangsters. And Kennedy refused to support them gangsters, which they could have easily defeated that army. The Bad Pigs could have easily been won. I knew people. I worked with a dude. He said we was on the aircraft carrier ready, and they never sent us in. They never sent us in to fight him. Didn't send the jets in, didn't send nothing in. But they show you in the movie 13 Days that they was flying jets across Cuba checking it out. And they could have used them jets to destroy him. They did not want to destroy him. And you got to look at the Cubans, the way they adjusted and adapted, didn't get any cars. Reverse engineer the parts. Because a car can be made to run forever. So they was geniuses in that way, in that regard. They adapted, one of the countries that adapted the best. Said, okay, you don't want to give us these cars? Okay, we'll reverse engineer them. Make them run forever. And that's what they've done. That's what they've done. And so, you know, it just shows that the American way isn't the only way. We know there's other ways. And then that, you know, going full circle, that goes back into the spiritualness. Once they know that they can't really touch your spirit, no matter what, then you have nothing to fear. You know, just like if you kill a bug, death is it's every minute, every day. It never goes away. That's why in the Mayan way of thinking, it's 2 days a week. There's the days of death. So death is natural to the Mayans. That's why I get on about the ball game. The ball game is very sacred. It's sacred to me. I understand the sacredness. I understand the sacredness of what the hero twins gave to the world, or what the omen, the omic, gave to the world. It was something sacred. The ball game was sacred. And we look, them peoples, they run pro basketball. They think because they created the first leagues, they didn't create the game. They created the first American leagues, and so that's why they feel and have always felt that they should dominate basketball. They don't dominate football. They don't dominate baseball. But they think because they started some of the very first, wasn't even pro leagues, just leagues, that they should own pro basketball. David Stein, he was one of them people. And so is the current Silver, whatever his name is. Both of them people. I don't think Kennedy was, who was, I think, the first commissioner. But it was interesting when you saw them, you know, the Iranians burn Baal. They burned that statue. Why do you think the Israelis care? Again, it goes into, you know, the whole thing with religion. It is not what they teach. You know, when you're a Catholic or a Christian or a Muslim, you are not. There's something else there that you worship. You don't worship what's really told in the stories, and these stories are copies among copies among copies. But there's something else evil there, and there is Baal, Yadaboeth, the Demerge. That's when the Gnosticism talks about. They talk about the illusionary world created by the Demerge. But really, like if you really, you know how Christianity kind of killed the divine spirit in a lot of ways, so does Gnosticism, even though they have the divine Sophia. But again, they say Sophia birthed this Yadaboeth. So again, it puts down women. It was the woman's spirit, the feminine spirit, that brought forth this demon, this monster. Again, this is Middle Eastern history. You know, the Gnosticism comes from there. It was really a part of Catholics and Christians. They revealed the snake. They say the snake bought intelligence, bought consciousness, and gave consciousness to Eve. So they don't see it as something wicked or evil. They see it as knowledge. The serpent brought knowledge from this Yadaboeth that's trying to hold the knowledge or keep it from you, keeping you from having a Gnosticism, keeping you from realizing the real realities and looking beyond the veil. And so that's why they were so offended. I mean, these people are Babylonians. Remember there was a movie a few years ago called Babylonia? This is what they are. This is what they really are. Is they want to bring old Babylonian back. Babylon, they want to bring that back. That's really who they are and what they really study. That's get into this pedophilia, this child slavery, child sex trafficking. I mean, that's what this comes from. sacrificing the children, eating the children, using the body parts to stay alive forever, using the adrenochrome. So this is where the wickedness comes from. I mean, like if you look at numbers, the numbers of children that's missing, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. I think Germany had in 24 something like 400,000 children that just come up missing. Now, I don't know how many people live in Germany, but still, that's a lot of damn people, because these are individual children that do come up missing. And this is, you can look at every country, and one thing that every country has in common is the amount of missing children. And I raised 7 children, and I never missed any of them. Never. I mean, you know, it's like, it has to be a united front that's taking these children with some intelligence behind it. It's not just these random. No, they watch these people. That's what people don't understand, is you got to always watch. And of course, you know, we have these baby banks where the people have babies, where they, you know, they have babies in secret quarters and just give the babies to these people, sell them. And we have these. What is that boring movie, The Red something? And it was kind of showing you that. Red Maiden, how something. So these are things that actually go on. And we worship a lot of this, and we wish for a lot of it, even though we see what it does to these people. I mean, what if PJ Allen's still listening? What do we say? Once you take a drink from that success, that machine, once you drink their drink, they got you. You can't go back and say, well, you know, I didn't really mean to get that touchdown, or I didn't mean to get that movie part. No, you can't take it back. You drink from it. Once you drink from their juice, it's a forever kind of thing. They decide when you die. Yeah. We get into Al Jarreau. Al Jarreau should have died like a year or two before he died before one of the Grammys. And I must say, and I probably said this when I came on last time, is this Super Bowl was some of the least death in a long time. I think I counted only about 10 people dying, 10 athletes, entertainers that died during this year's Super Bowl. So that's, you know, some I think one year we had 30 or 40. You sip from the cup or glass. That's right. I mean, that's how it works. You know, it's like when you have fame, it's a lifetime contract. They don't care how much fame you had. I mean, look at DMX. Look how people forget, even though he was a crackhead, look how high he was able to rise in the entertainment business. He took Tupac's place and got in all these movies because he was the same kind of type. They had wrote all these movies for a Tupac type. And so DMX was able to feel that. And then look how quickly he died. And look all the confusion they made his life, withholding his music, making his life unstable. And that's what they do to you. I mean, look at Stacey Dash now. Nicki Minaj has taken the same road that Stacey Dash took during Trump's first presidency. Stacey Dash did exactly what Nicki Minaj is doing now. The very same thing, the very same character. Now, Stacey Dash is doing TikTok and YouTube videos. Yeah, Snoop losing his granddaughter. And remember, Snoop was part of a murder. What'd he say? Murder was the case that they gave him. He was in a car with somebody that shot somebody and killed him. I remember right, he was driving. But look at the strings they pulled to get him out, and look now. And they said that he's supposed to be so rich. They said he was over there in the Olympics and one of his credit cards one time didn't work. So he ended up having to do a little performance to pay for his dinner. Look that story up. And he's supposed to be so rich. He's supposed to make 10, 12 million off just this Winter Olympic thing. Makes you think. Then they talking about what Mayweather's coming out fighting again at 49. He's going to risk his record at 49 years old. So I don't know, guys. I guess I could. Pretty sure I can bring the 1diviness in. If you want to watch it, it's about 20 minutes. I can stand up for a little while and stretch my legs. But I think I can find her again pretty easy. I gotta come up here and spend more time on my on this computer. I just don't spend a lot of time on it. Here we go. Oh. Wow. Okay. And I don't know. I still sound like I'm hearing an echo, so probably echoing again. Can't get this out. Oh, it's from my phone. Okay. Okay, here we go. That one. Nope. Too far. Oh, there it is. So I get a chance to stretch my legs. Ooh. Did want to get into the meditation part, you are welcome to. Those of you that don't, well, then you don't. But I'm doing this for those of you that want to get into the meditations. This is 1diviness. This is, golly, this is 3 or 4 years ago. But I'm going to let her bring it in. And if you want to participate, then participate. If you don't, then that's okay. I'm going to stretch my legs and let you listen to some of my old work. And
open, be relaxed, listen to my voice, follow my voice, and we should have a good meditation. All right, let's go ahead and close our eyes. Palms up. We do the palms up to receive. And we're going to start with some breath work. So as you breathe in, you're going to breathe in through your nose, and I want you to breathe down to your belly. When you breathe down to your belly, I want you to expand that belly. As you're breathing in, I want you to focus on breathing in love and light. Then I'm going to have you hold the breath. And then after we hold the breath, we're going to do an exhale. You're going to exhale from the belly out through the mouth. I'm going to give you some numbers. We're going to count this. So as I'm asking you to exhale, I want you to breathe out anything that's heavy, anything that you're carrying, anything that is keeping you from your dream come true, from your wishes, your desires in your life, and give it to the Creator, to Source, to God. When we do the breath work, just relax, just be calm, no worries, no stress. Do the best that you can. Don't worry about the counting. If you can't make it to the full counts, it's okay. Do you? Okay, let's start with the first breath. Breathing in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now exhale from the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Push it all out. Let it all go out. Next breath. Breathing in through the nose. Love and light down to the belly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And exhale from the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, pushing it all out. Good. And last breath. Breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale from the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Releasing it all, letting it all go. Now we're going to just do a scan of the body. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the top of the head and we're going to move all the way down to our feet. I just want you to go through the body and release any tension, any stress, any tightness you may be feeling, any stuck energies. You're going to imagine it going down a drain, or you can just give it to Mother Earth. Mother Earth will recycle that energy. So don't feel bad that you're giving it to her, just release it to her. Or like I said, just imagine it going down a drain, like you're standing in the shower and you're just washing it off. So let's start at the top of the head, releasing anything that is tight, just letting it go. Let's move to our forehead, any tightness in the brows, your eyes, letting go of any stress, moving down to your ears, your cheeks, your nose, your mouth, your jaw, chin, releasing any tightness in the shoulders, going down your arms, into your elbows, your lower arms, your wrists, your hands, your fingertips, letting go of any stress, any tension, any tightness in your upper back, your chest, lower back, your stomach, releasing any tension in your hips, lower legs, moving into the thighs, the knees, lower legs, your ankles, your feet, your toes, just letting it wash away, just releasing it, giving it to Mother Earth. Now I'd like you to take an inventory if anything still feels tight, going back and giving that area some love and allowing it to release. Let's start now by bringing your awareness within. I want you to start focusing on bringing that awareness from your mind down to your heart space. Start pulling that awareness into your heart space. As you keep a light focus between your brows, not looking for anything, not stressing about it, just a light focus as you pull that awareness into your heart space. And gently pulling it down. As you do so, I want you to listen to the sounds in the room that you're sitting in. Maybe the fan is blowing or the heat is blowing. Just allowing those sounds and not attaching to them. You may hear family members or pets in the background. Just allowing as you keep pulling that awareness into your heart space. You might hear some cars driving by. Just allowing those sounds to occur as you keep pulling that awareness into your heart space. Or just being. Nothing needs to be done in this moment. Thoughts may be rising in your mind of what needs to be done after this meditation or what needs to be done tomorrow. We're not going to attach to those thoughts. We're just going to let that energy pass as you're just being. As you keep pulling that awareness into your heart space, not worried about the bills, the chores that need to be done, not worried about the workday for tomorrow or for the rest of the week. Just going to let those thoughts pass as you keep pulling that awareness into your heart space, letting go of any irritations you may have had today with things not going your way, and just allowing it to pass. As you sit in meditation, you may feel some numbness or tingling. That too shall pass, not attaching to it, or just being. Keep pulling that awareness into your heart space. If thoughts continue to rise, just gently pull yourself back into the heart space. Gently bring your awareness in. Now, being in the heart space, I want you to imagine a green lotus flower opening up. If you don't know what a lotus flower is, it's okay. Just imagine a flower opening up. This is where our love resides, in the heart space. I want you to move your awareness within the heart space, within that lotus flower. And I want you to feel that energy as it expands and moves in all directions. I want you to embrace yourself in that love, that unconditional love. And send out that same love to all beings. Now let's move our awareness down to our solar plexus. Your solar plexus is located about 6 inches above your belly button. As you move your awareness down there, I want you to imagine a yellow lotus flower opening up and bringing your awareness into the center of that lotus flower. This is where our will resides, our inner strength, our goals. Just move yourself into that energy and feel that energy. Remember, we're not doing anything. We're just being. Allow yourself to be guided. Now bring your awareness down to your sacral. The sacral is located between the hips, below the belly button, where our sexual organs are. I want you to imagine an orange lotus flower opening up. This is where our passion and creativity sits. Bring your awareness into the center of the lotus flower. Allowing that lotus flower to expand in all directions. This is where our self-care and self-love, doing the things that bring us joy, allowing yourself to feel that energy. Now bring your awareness down to your root chakra. This is at the base of your spine. Imagine a red lotus flower opening up. This is where our survival sits. Bring your awareness into the center of the lotus flower. As the lotus flower expands in all directions, feel the connection to Mother Earth. Feel the connection to knowing that all of your needs are being met and will continue to be met. Now, as we go in and ground ourselves to Mother Earth, I want you to feel yourself rooting into Mother Earth as I guide you down into the center. Just rooting yourself, letting yourself go, anchoring yourself into her energy. Bringing your energy down into both of your thighs, your knees, your lower legs, your ankles, your feet, your toes. Bringing that energy down into the ground, into the rocks and dirt, going down the multiple layers of the earth, going down to Gaia, to Mother Earth, connecting with her consciousness, becoming one with her unconditional love. Feel yourself becoming one with her. We thank you, Gaia, for the blessings and graces that you give us. We thank you for all that you do for us on a daily basis. We thank the animals, the plants, the birds, the air, the wind, the water, and the fire for their part in our human experience and soul's evolution. Being filled with gratitude and love, now bringing that energy forth, bringing Mother Earth's energy as she gives it to us freely, bringing it up through the multiple layers of the earth, bringing that energy back up past the rocks and dirt, back up into the ground, into your feet, your ankles, lower legs, knees, thighs, root chakra, sacral, solar plexus, heart. Now move your energies up to the throat chakra. I'd like you to imagine a blue lotus flower opening up. This is where our truth resides, our communications with others. Feel that lotus flower opening up and expanding in all directions as you bring your awareness within. Feeling the energies as we speak our truth, and we speak the truth with loving ways and loving words. Now bring your awareness up to your third eye. This is between the brows. You're going to imagine a purple lotus flower opening up. As you do so, bringing your awareness into the center as it expands in all directions. This is where our intuition or our connection to higher self resides. Feeling those energies of being guided, of the knowings, of the nudges, of the visions, of the hearing, the whispers in our ears of what we should be doing to continue to be on that path. What is for our highest and greatest good, and for those who are around us and surround us. Allowing that energy to expand. Now bring your awareness up to the crown chakra. The crown chakra is right above your head, outside of your body. Imagine a white lotus flower opening up. This is where our connection to wisdom and to the divine, creator resides. Feel yourself moving into that energy as the lotus flower expands in all directions, allowing ourselves to be guided, knowing the truth that we are all one. Now bring your awareness up to the sun. Allow yourself to feel the warmth of the sun on your face, the life force energy. Feeling the energy of the sun on your body into each and every single cell. Bathing in that healing energy. Now bring your awareness up to the full moon, where the feminine energies resides. This is called the pink moon. This is a very powerful moon. Even though the full moon energies were the highest yesterday, we still have the energies for 3 more days. During the full moon, we do a release of letting go of things no longer that serve us, so that we can make room for the things that we desire in our life, which we plant during the new moon. This moon is also requiring us to be grateful for all that we have. For all the things in our life that we are grateful for, so that more can come forward. I'd like everybody to take a few minutes at this point and go ahead and say the things that you are grateful for in your mind towards the moon, and then also recognizing the things that you'd like to release and asking the energies of the moon to help assist with that. So let's take a few minutes and do a release and do some gratitude.
The Galactic Mountain so much, he's a regular.
All right. Thank you, One Divine. Okay, here I am. So I hope you enjoyed that. Wherever the One Divineness is, I wish her nothing but success and love. She has never objected. I've been using this for 4 or 5 years. She's never objected. I wish I could. I had a site or something that
That's
I
for
could,
you. That's for you.
put her that you guys can listen to more.
Thank
of
you,
her work.
everyone.
I know she takes clients and stuff, but
Get this.
since
That ain't
off. We were talking. I've told the story before.
I told you
I
I would.
for about 6 months, and you know, once we started dating, you know how they go. You go your way, I go my way, and I've since got married, and I've been married for. We've been together for 3 years. Well, going on 4 years. We've been married 2 years, going on 3 years. So it worked out, and I hope wherever she is, I hope she's joyful. I hope she's joyful, whatever she's doing. Hey, Jody, what's happening? We still got to connect. I watch all your work. Jody, watch Jody's show. It's under Jody. I think it's under her name. But I'm subscribed to her. You can go to my channel and find her because I'm subscribed to her. And really thoughtful work and spiritual. She touches into some spiritual things. She touches into some magical things, and she touches also into some of the secret societies as well. In the past, we've talked, and she can go quite deep into her experiences around Hollywood and the way Hollywood is ran. And Hollywood was set up. People forget that Aleister Crowley set up Hollywood. When the Jewish faith people started creating Hollywood, they brought Crowley in.
and all initiations and stuff was really a lot of Crawley's work. And then once they mastered it all and how to control everything, they threw Crawley to the side. You know, he didn't really benefit, but he set the system up. If you really study it, he set the spiritual system up that Hollywood still runs on today. Now, it's been taken to a whole lot of different levels, but basically he set up the system that we see still operating Hollywood, the dark part of the system. And again, all his work isn't just necessarily dark. There's just like Brother Johnson. It's some things that he said in the beginning that made a lot of sense. Brother Polite was the same way. It wasn't like everything he said was poison. Some of the things really he touched on a point. He really was. You know, Brother Polite, you catch his when he's talking about lights. You know how lights affect you, and how these fake lights around you affect you. Oh, okay. It's on point. And so, you know, you have to use your discernment. But, you know, on the other hand, you know, we look at these same scammers, but see that goes that kind of goes into the religion of trusting idols. You know, we as a people easily create idols and idolize people. I mean, look at Michael Jordan, the way people idolize him, you know. When we know he don't really give a damn about the basic man, especially brothers, you know. Look at where he's immersed himself. But again, he has a long history of racing because people don't forget he has a motorcycle club too. So he promotes all kind of racing, but coming from North Carolina, I mean, people forget Brad Daugherty did the same thing. He was the first NBA player to actually own a racing team was Brad Daugherty. And now Brad Daugherty used to do announcing on racing. Now he's back to the NBA. He's on NBC. I think he was on tonight. So, but Michael Jordan definitely, you know, almost anything he touches brings a spark to it. So of course, you know, he beats him in a court case, and of course he's going to win a couple times. So, not surprised by that. I mean, that's almost predictable if you look at the way entertainment is ran. And see, that's again why I harp so much about fake entertainment sports, is because sports is supposed to be spiritual. I mean, really, like you know, I know PJ can really, if you understand like what basketball is in the sacred game, like basketball is the perfect sport because you don't need anything else to achieve success. The success is making the basket. You know, when I go to Lifetime and play pickleball, before we play, this dude's hooping. And, you know, dudes can't really hoop, but again, you know, you've put your life into playing something like this, and you find it a way to keep in shape. So that's the spiritual side of it still. Competitive, laughing, and playing. And that's the one thing I don't like about getting older. I wish I could have hooped forever. if I can pull up a gym and Jim say, well, what do you want? I want to be able to hoop forever. Instead, I pretty much, you know, had to quit at 50. I quit league play at about 44, 45. When I was 41, 42, I led the city in my semi-pro league in scoring. I led the city in scoring. It's like 28, 29 points a game. And my teammates were so hateful that they didn't put me the MVP. They voted, and it's like Melvin beat me by 1 vote. And then they hand out the stat sheets after the vote. And it's like I led the league in scoring. And I'm in my 40s. And we playing like to play in the top leagues for your age group, you have to play a certain amount of games. So we had to always play younger people because we didn't have enough in our age group to play. So for 10 years straight, we played younger teams. And we went to state every year. And my guys would get to playing against the top players and choke, and that's when I got to playing good. But it's a spiritual thing, you know. It really is. It's the amount of what you put in it, you know. Like until you know, and now like you even got to look at when high school people can make money and high school games on TV. You got to look at some of them games as, you know, are they controlled? Like if you go back to the Ball brothers and you look at when Lonzo Ball scored, 100 points in the high school game? Look at some of them shots. And you come to the conclusion, yeah, they've been manipulating shots for high school people too. But it's funny, like one thing I learned going to different gyms, it's like ways teams manipulate games that don't even do it on purpose. Like where my nephew went, I noticed that it was a heating duct over a certain basket, and almost every game, the team that was on that left side was making shots from that left side. They wasn't making shots from the right side, but where that heating duct was, it created some kind of way where dudes was making shots. And this is from watching, multiple games. I was like, oh shit, because it's like the first half, one team would be hot, that left side, everybody hitting. Then they go on to the other side, they ain't hitting. But the other team is hitting from that same left side as the first team was when they switched ends. So I looked at things like that to manipulate. I saw a couple gyms like that where just the heating system was able to manipulate shots. And I don't mean control them. It just seemed like it made it favorable. It made it favorable when that heat was blowing. It made it favorable for shots to be made from that side. I noticed in a few different gyms. Because the way they do shot charts now is when they tape the games and they do shot charts off the games. Well, I would do shot charts while watching the games. So I was able to see where, like, look at this. And it's, you get to see in patterns. So it's not that they set the gym up like that. It was just a phenomenon that when that heat was blowing a certain way, people tended to make shots. So that's more of a natural kind of thing, more than the electronics we know. Like I go back and look at pictures. When I go to a pro game, first thing I'm looking at the ceiling, I'm looking at the scoreboard, and I'm looking at all the electronics in the basket. And football is a gimme about field goals. We know they manipulate field goals and I think that's why they wanted the field goals to go further back too. I think it's easier for them to miss kicks instead of being like a 15, 20-yard kick for extra point. Now it's almost a 25, 30-yard kick. I think it's easier to make them miss from the longer distance than the shorter distance. Now I think they can make any of them miss, but I think that's the root why they did the rule change. And all of a sudden you see people missing extra points when it was pretty much a given. For a good 40 years, extra point was pretty much a given. And you had people like, what was Skip? What was Skip's name? Skip bitching about it when he had his little fame. Move it back, or get rid of the kicks. Again, you see the false campaign there. It wasn't really real. But I'll just say, look at what you give your energy to. That's the biggest thing. Look at what you feed. And it's the same thing about this war. Are you feeding it? Or are you able to just sit back and be, just, where's my fireplace? Oh, there it is. There's my fireplace. Or can you just sit back and look at all of it and what it all really means? And again, you use your discernment. And mediocrity. I couldn't get that word out earlier. Mediocrity. Well, that's a real thing. The mediocrity is definitely a real thing that we see. Where it's not about talent or skill set. It's about, again, are you European or not? At least that seems to be the Trump way. And that's what they, get rid of all these programs that helped. Yeah, don't feed into it. Exactly. What did Public Enemy say? Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Keep your own mind about all this. Don't let it influence you. Don't get to arguing about this shit. Because that's what happened, with Trump and Kamala. It's built to divide. That's what the whole thing was. It was like this is a divide, and my wife would get mad at the motherfucker. Like, I just did not like her. I didn't like her phoniness. I mean, Trump, who he is forward, and who she was is phony. She when she had a chance as a vice president to say, yes, I am a melanated person. No, that's not what she said. She said, I'm an Indian person. But then when she runs this time, she cooks greens in a tub. I mean, it was just nothing to like about that woman. And we know when she was in California, the way she went after brothers, she didn't have no mercy for brothers. Well, you can marry who you love, but, she did marry one of them peoples. And then, you know, the thing that I hated when she talked about Hanukkah. Now, come on. Hanukkah was invented in 66, 67, or 68. And she's living in Canada, and you telling me an Indian person is celebrating Hanukkah? She's a couple years younger than me. She's 61 or 62, maybe even 63. So she ain't that much younger than me. And you telling me I'm not Hanukkah, but Kwanzaa. Talking about her mom would. Why would a Indian lady that's a Buddhist? Why would she go through all that? Living in Canada, so you know it's just lie after lie, and Trump lied too. Let's he's one of the biggest liars in the history of the world too. Let's not say he's not. But again, they're all really the same team. They're all the same team. And I still think that even if Kamala would have been president, I think a lot of things we just recently went through would have still went through. I think this thing where we're helping them, again, she's very backed by APAC, husband, them peoples. So we would have been in the same position. But the Democrat way is to make us feel better. Make us feel better. See, that's been the Democratic way. They would have made us feel better about going to war. That's would have been the only difference. The propaganda would have been different. We wouldn't have went through all this thing when we went through ICE. And you know, and I've said before, you know, like you look at like what was done here, and this is the funny part. I don't know if Nick made a video about this. Is these Somalians asking for reparations for being harassed? They want reparations for the way they was treated. When they just showed another young boy, another young dude was 22 years old, was able to get $6 million for autism. He was able to get $6 million for autism. And what he was doing, he hired staff that wasn't doctors. He was just getting Africans to bring their children in. And if they didn't have a diagnosis, they was lying about the diagnosis to get the money. And this dude ended up hustling $6 million. Now, as far as I know, the initial thing was the one, the Jody lady. European lady. She was the initial of the biggest fraud. But here goes a small scale fraud too that was able to go on and no one caught. And so now they're prosecuting. That's what they've been doing, is they've been prosecuting people. That's what Walt was saying. They're prosecuting people. So, well, guys, I've been going on for 2 hours. Let me finish with this. I think this is pretty cool. Says, now, open me to the path of the flood leading to El Sheraton, the mansion of the two faces. Tell me about this palace of the divine essence. Nana, open me to the path of the flood leading to El Bhutan. Tell me about the belly of Arius and about the mansion of one who calls. Open me to the path of the flood leading to El Tyra, the many little lights of the Pleiades. Bring me the many insights and realization and knowledge from within. Nana, open me up to the path of the flood leading to El Duran, the discipline. Tell me about the palace that lightens up the eye of the heavenly bull. Nana, open up to the path of the flood leading to El Hakak. Tell me about the palace of the white spot of the heavenly bull. Nana, open me to the path of the flood leading to Al Hanan. Tell me about the mansion of the little star with the great light and the signs of Gemini. Nana, open the path of the flood leading to El Dahar. Tell me about the mansion of the throne, located in the embrace of the twins. I open the 7 mansions of the moon at the southwest heaven of the firmament. I call upon the light that enlightens these palaces. I ask access to the waves of cosmic ocean which color the spiritual of these forces. Nana, open me to the path of the flood leading to Al Nathra. Tell me about the mansions located between the pincers of Cancer and the palace that is considered with friendship and gratefulness. Open me to the path of the flood leading to Al Tarf. Tell me about the mansion that is called the splendor of Cancer. Open me up to the path leading to Al Jabah. Tell me about the mansion leading to the forehead of Cancer. Open me to the path of leading to Al Zobra. Tell me about the mansion leading to the hair of the lion. Open me to the path of the flood leading to El Shafra, the changer. Tell me about the mansion locating in the tail of the lion. Open me to the path of the flood leading to Al Anu. Tell me about the mansion located in the wings of the heavenly virgin. The moon is full, her light radiates in the darkness, exalts the spiritual forces. Nana, open the path for the light leading to Al Shemak. Tell me about the mansion located in the ear of corn of the Virgin. I open the 7 mansions of the moon, ask the western heaven of the fulfillment. I call upon the lights who places these palaces. Open me to the path leading to Al Garaf. Tell me about the heavenly palace located in the sign of the scales. Open me to the path of Eb leading to Al Jubab. Tell me about the heavenly palace located in the southwest claw of the scales. Open me to the path of Eb leading to the Ikil El Jabbar. Tell me about the heavenly palace located in the crown of the constellation of Scorpio. Open up the path of Eb to Al Qab. Tell me about the heavenly palace located in the heart of the constellation of Scorpio. Open me up to the path of El Shara, the sting of Scorpio. Tell me about this heavenly palace. Open me to the path of Eb to Al Nam. Tell me about the moon place that is located in the arrow of Sagittarius. Open me up for the path of Eb of Al Badal. Tell me about the mansion of the moon located in the horns of the sea goat in the sign of Sagittarius. I open the 7 mansions of the moon at the fulfillment, the northern heaven of the firmament. I call upon the lights, the lighten of these palaces. Open me to the path of Shaldayab. Open me the path of Sal el Balu. Tell me about the mansion that is located in Capricorn. Open to the path of El Shaud. Tell me about the light that lit this mansion. Open me to the path of Eb to Al Shad Adiyah. Tell me about the mansion of the moon that hides in the fortune of the concealed. Open me to the path of Eb El Maduk. Tell me about the moon mansion that causes new spouts of the surface. Again, this all goes. Open me to the path of Farak Al Talani. Tell me about the mansion located in the constellation of Pisces. Open me up to the heavenly palace of the moon. Tell me about the mansion of the dark moon. So these are just a little bit of talk of the mansions of the moon and where the moon is placed in the skies. There's a energy that's there. It's just like, when I used to do the Toltec cards, there's a color every day. The way the Mayan and the Toltec, there's a god for the daytime and there's a god for at night. And the night gods are less known in the Mayan traditions. And so the magic that's practiced in America is a little different than, what's practiced in the Western magic. And as I started to show again, the magic, you don't have to use demons. That's up to you if you want to go that far and you learn how to bind them, call them, and you got some questions for them, but I have universal things that work for me that answer and give me signs, Like I learned a very, like this year, I learned a very good lesson is like, I was looking at the way things was flowing, and at first I was getting frustrated. And then I just sat back and said, oh, okay, this is going to be the whole year. So I can fight this force, or I can just go with it and understand that this is what's going to be here. Everything I'm trying to do is this little thing that's right there that I need, that's going to be there. And so I need to find a way to adjust. And once I adjust it, things have flowed better. Because instead of, banging your head against the wall, you just say, okay, maybe I can walk around the wall. You ain't always got to push your way through things. You figure a different way to do it. You say, okay, this is cool. This is what it is. This is cool. I'll just adjust. Now swing left, swing right. Go to center, up, down. And then that's your magic, That's your, like a lot of my magic comes from time control. And time control isn't like, I can go back 1,000 years or go back 4 years. Time control is controlling your minutes, your microseconds. That's all it is. There's a lady that I saw today hit me. My mother was riding. My mother saw her first, and this lady actually hit me. I saw her hit me. But again, time control, I was able just to get by her. Because she pulled out, right? You know, I saw it. When I literally saw her hit where my mom was sitting. She hit the car. But again, being able to just control those microseconds, and you can get away from little troubles like that. At least I've been able to. I don't know what it is with me and cars and time control, but it seems to, you know. And every time I be like, thank time. Thank time. Because time came before consciousness. Time controls it all. Change is the enemy, but time controls it all. Everything comes out of time. Even consciousness comes out of time. It wasn't consciousness and then time. It was time. No Big Bang. Well, guys, 3 hours. I've been going at it. Thank you so much for coming. Jody, I got to get in touch with you because I'm sure that I could write down some questions for you and then keep you going all night. Because, you know, I enjoy your work and you've been a good ally to have, and I appreciate it. Same with PJ. Stacy, thank you for coming. Dr. Sinister, I saw you came in here too. So thank you, Mac V. Thank you for coming. People that, you know, whoever gets something out of this, that's, you know, and, you know, maybe I shouldn't be so selfish. Maybe these little spiritual practices, I should come on and teach them more often. But a lot of times I don't have a lot to say about gossip. I just don't indulge with this, a lot of this stuff that seems to keep keeps people's attention. So thank you guys. Till we meet again.